what I'd like to do is actually kind of go around the room and have you say something that you know about customers or where you possibly still have a question. I want to make sure we're good, and then we'll move on to the next piece, okay? Roxanne, welcome. How you doing? Good, good. Okay, David, can we start with you? What did you learn or what do you know about customers? We're just trying to kind of get back into the flow of where we were at. About customers.
About customers?
Something new or something that you thought was kind of fun?
Something new I learned was that when you were able to do the website thing in the log note.
Okay, so we added some HTML links right from the log notes so that we could jump somewhere if we needed to. Okay, awesome. Now, for those of you who know, every single time you browse to a page, it actually has the full web URL. So if you actually have a certain other spot you needed to jump to within the site, you could technically even link it to that if you needed to, like if there was a reason for it, like say a specific picture or an expense or something like that, and there wasn't like a natural way to do that, you could even say, here's the URL right here. I'm going to link this out on that note and piece of cake, and it'll actually take you right to that. Can I show that to you just really quick as we kind of jump back into customers? So watch this. Let's say that Danny is in here as a customer, but I just paid him an expense, okay? What I wanted to do was just kind of get to that last expense. It was expense receipt number 1. So here's the link right up here at the top. Actually, I'm going to go clear to the gallery level so that when I land on Danny, I want to physically jump right back here. I'm going to click this, control copy it, and now I'm going to actually go to Danny as a customer. Like, I realize that this is kind of random. It's just more for show right now. But so I'm going to jump over to Danny. I'm going to go to his log, and I'm going to add a new log. And this is kind of just for fun. I'm going to go internal, and I'm going to say this is a link to the first payment. Maybe you had something that was returned. I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to do my HTML stuff so that I can actually play. Go to gallery, and then I'm going to come back here, and I actually have to tell it how to get to it. Okay, so I just did a copy paste. I know I'm kind of flying fast, but basically we're writing some HTML code, and I'm going to say add the log entry. So guess what? Now under Danny as a customer, this little thing that says go to gallery, where do you think it's going to take me? Just click right internally, right to his little gallery page for that particular expense. Okay, all we did was copy and paste it right out of the address bar. Okay, so like, you have tons and tons of features you could do if you know how to play and you want to play like that. Okay, thank you, David. That was a quick little. We said that we can use HTML in log notes. So perfect, perfect. Shannon, can we have you say something really quick about customers and or some of the interactions that we were doing?
Yes, that is actually something I didn't know either. I thought that was really neat. But one thing that I don't think I've seen, maybe I was typing while it happened, I know we've talked about adding context under the customer, under a business or something. I've actually just never seen that done.
Okay, great.
But I'm sure I can figure it out.
Watch this. We are going to put in Shannon, okay? Client, more, nope, don't have her. Add new. Currently, we don't have a whole lot of types selected, but this is a dynamic list. So we're going to go like this. And in case anybody wants a date, no, I'm just kidding.
It's a long way away. Don't worry, it's pretty sure safe.
I'm tabbing too fast. So basically, we start entering this information, and similar to what Dan said, is we don't want to just skip around it and just do just the asterisks. We want to really put in some real information, okay? We come down here. You have two choices. I'm scrolling down. This is still a basic customer. There's an add you can do right here, and you can add it, add the customer. Or if you wanted to put additional contacts, say you went like this. Russell Moore, and say his, Russell, what's your email address?
Reach for Heaven 87.
Whoa, say that again.
Reach for heaven. 87 @gmail.com.
Okay, so say she's going to have a brother. It's going to be Russell, and he's got an email address. And I can just scroll all the way down. It allows you to add 3, like as you're coming into it, but technically it's unlimited. Okay, so currently we have Shannon Moore. She now has a brother named Russell. Well, I happen to be Shannon's brother as well. Watch this. This is after the fact. Say some time went along. I would say add an additional contact. I'm going to say that I'm a brother as well. Brandon Moore, and I'm going to actually say I live at 170 West, 650 South. Okay, in Richmond, which is just outside of Logan. Boom, boom, boom. And I could add my email address or whatever I wanted to, but the more information you add, what it does is it fills into the different little fields. So you can add or edit whatever you needed to. If I was like, oh man, I really meant to put my email address in there, I could literally, I clicked on it, I'm in edit mode now. It's currently like edit. Brandon and Adilas.biz, go for it. As soon as you add that, it's technically a link now. Like you can add, edit. Those are called additional contacts. How many do you need? We were just doing brothers or whatever, but I imagine if you were doing owner or accounts payable, accounts receivable or whatever, you could plunk that in however you needed to. Awesome, great. Good question.
Someone on the mood?
Oh yeah. As soon as we say the word one-to-many, we say whatever. Like if you literally you wanted to put the whole football team in here. Say you were building the football team and you wanted to put quarterback in the ends and the receivers and the have fun, knock yourself out. It's unlimited. Okay, you can even put the water girl or whatever in there. It's a piece of cake. It's literally this easy. You would say click, water girl, and her name is Mikkel. Okay, that's one of my other sisters. Like literally, it could be that simple. It's unlimited. You could go wherever you wanted to.
And all those names will be searchable.
Oh yeah.
If you went to the client.
So if I go client here and I try to find Mikkel, it's a sub of customers, and so you have to make sure you're searching in the sub section. Watch this. If I go Mikkel, it's going to say I don't have her. But watch this. If I say go to an advanced search. And I go down all the way to the clients, and I say first name, M-A-K. What have I got? Oh, were you looking for Mikkel? Like, depends on where it's at, and all of a sudden you can find that. Good question, Dan. I love it. That's awesome. Does that make sense how that kind of works? What I was going to show you as well is that if you get something that you don't want, you could technically say, see ya, right there. Just a quick little status change. Edit that contact. She's no longer on there. Okay, so it's very friendly as far as adding and editing. Even log notes, if you add something, you're like, ooh, I really don't want that in there. You can remove it. Okay.
Can you go back and turn it back on, Mikkel?
Mikkel is gone now.
Yeah,
basically, you can't. Well, if you knew there is a way, but what you would have to do is you'd have to go here. Okay, and this might be way beyond the scope of this, but watch this. If I go to the history and I scroll down. It basically has some information here. Hey, I updated account. I actually thought it recorded the ID number of who did it here, but I was going to show you kind of a reverse hack, but we'll just leave it as is. Let's say that it's gone. It's gone, okay?
So
at the bottom. Yeah.
you couldn't search inactive?
Let's go check it out. I'm not sure. I can't even remember. So let's get to the advanced search where we can do this. If this is too much to scroll through and it's like, oh my goodness, it's tons, once you learn how to do the page, hey, I only want the contacts page. It collapsed those top 2 searches. Now that's all my page looks like, if that's easier for you. Okay. So it doesn't look like I have a thing right here, but let's make a, I don't have it anymore. I told it to completely go away. Great. Awesome. That was additional contacts. Did that make sense? And you can add as many as you want. Okay, here's another cool thing about additional contacts. Watch this. Say we actually go back to Shannon, and here's, oh, looks like somebody else was adding one behind me. Like, it's okay. You guys, there's tons of you here in the room that are kind of playing as well. What if I did this? Add a new cart for Shannon. Watch this. What if I wanted to add some from her quick contact list to my shopping cart? Click. Watch how quickly I can do this. Let's do this one and this one. Go ahead. So now technically Russell's added and Brandon's added, and to the actual cart, like I'm in view cart mode, I can add additional. So imagine, say if this was actually like ship to Shannon's I'm gonna bill Shannon, she's paying for it or whatever, but I need to ship it to Russell, and he lives in Logan versus Smithfield or whatever. Like, you can add additional content. We haven't even gone there yet, but
Is that the way you do that? Is that the way you set up ship to address versus bill to?
Sure, sure. Watch this. Let's actually go back to Shannon, okay? Just so you can kind of see what's going to go on here. We're going to add an additional contact, and we're going to say ship to. Shanny, where do you want this ship to? XYZ?
Yes, my private island, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's say it's somewhere. It's very confidential. Some city, and let's call it in Hawaii. And it's 5555, whatever, 888. Boom, piece of cake. Now, did you see that little checkbox? I didn't click it, but there was a little thing, hey, do you want to automatically add this to the invoice every time? You can actually have it suck it in. Or because she's here now, if I go back to my cart, she's already assigned. Let's actually remove some of these other ones just so that you can kind of see how we would do it. We're literally just in cart mode, just like before. Because I have Shannon, I can either say attach a new one and it'll kind of make me search, or I can go right to the ones that are under her. Click. And then I find the ship to, and I can call it whatever I wanted to. Like, even add notes if I wanted to. Use the back door, okay? Add that as a tie-in. Here's Shannon, the main. My ship to is now XYZ Private Island, etc., etc., etc. Yes, Roxanna.
I don't know if you, I don't want to go off track, but
We love off track.
so are we capable of emailing, faxing, and texting customers?
Sorta. Yep. If I go to Shannon and we actually had her email address in here, see I'm on her log. Right here, you could literally go right to it and click on it, and it's an active link. Okay, it's not in bulk and it's not in that kind of stuff. We are actually working with another company, and some of the details are still forthcoming. But basically, they do all sorts of text messaging and email blasts and all this kind of stuff. Well, we have tons of data, and they already have this text messaging service provided. And so what we're going to potentially do is like, hey, if you want that, all you have to do is just, we'll create the bridge for you.
Is that the same gentleman from last?
Yeah, his name is Mike. Yep.
And
Yeah,
what
he's a
if
really
they
nice guy.
don't have something existing, but they want to be able to do that with their customers?
Okay, it kind of depends on where they're trying to get to it and like what their level is. Like, what happens as soon as you start saying, I want to blast through this, I want to do this, you virtually say, instead of you running your business, you're actually flirting with marketing, and you're like, it's a whole nother level of what needs to happen, but it's still part of the business. And so we have some other ideas that are recorded, but guess what? That's where we're headed with some of that.
So can I have a client contact you, or?
Sure, sure.
Because I
I'd have them
that.
just contact Steve, and
Steve?
Steve's kind of more in the know on where that
Oh,
particular
okay.
project is at right now. But there's some sweet things coming. So absolutely. And here's another funny thing, Roxanne. Sometimes what it needs is we have these ideas and we know that we're heading in that direction, but we kind of need like these little nudges, like, hey, that's worth a couple $100 for me. Okay, cool. We're gonna move it anyway. And then all of a sudden they pay a couple $100, and all of a sudden we're able to offer it as a new feature to other people. That's how we like to roll it.
If that's something that you ended up talking to, say, for this client of mine, is that like potentially like an upgrade of some sort to where their fee would go up? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, basically their Adilas fee wouldn't go up at all. Okay, if they
Right.
needed that custom piece and they wanted to help pay for that bridge, they would just a one-time deal, kind of helping to pay for some of the development time.
Kind of like an import.
Yeah, basically the same thing that we do for a customer import or something like that. So a one-time fee, and then all of a sudden they virtually would be dealing with another company, but we would be feeding that outside company according to contractual relationships.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that's headed.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Let's go, where else were we? Did we ask you yet on customers?
Yeah, but they've answered a lot of the things.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that we're all clear on customers, or if you guys wanted any more additional information.
Well, if I'm correct, you showed us how to email. You've also showed us how to make PDF files, which we can send all this to people, and then the texting.
Yep. And so basically, even right here, Roxanne, you can see how these links are live. If I wanted to physically send myself an email, I could click on it, and it would pull it right to.
Okay.
Like watch this right here. I'll click on it, and it opens up my. It's going to send it to Brandon at such and such. I'm already in my own contacts right here, but literally I could go like this. Hi there, attach, and then tab in, write my description, send, and it came right from that log page of that customer. Okay. Great, awesome. Deb, let's ask you real quick, kind of customer related. Any questions that you have?
No questions. I was just kind of enamored by the Visa thing where you guys didn't have to swipe it, but you did the copy paste and
Okay, that was just for a demo. That is a fictitious credit card.
Just the thought of not having to swipe a card and you can just take numbers and put it in, because that's what you can do, correct?
Correct. You're talking like a manual entry, right?
Right.
Okay, awesome. What let's do this. I'm going to actually go back to Danny because I think he still had a few that were outstanding. I'm going to go to his log, and I'm going to go all invoices year to date, okay? Oh, here's one for $1,000 that wasn't paid. If I go to edit mode on this invoice, I'll show you which page I'm on, just a minute. Invoice line items, and I'm currently on invoice 1. This was to Danny Schuford, okay? And currently we owed him 10 hours at $100 a piece for $1,000, okay? Because I'm in edit mode, I technically can come in here and apply a payment however I want, okay? I can just click right on here, or I can physically plunk it in just like this. Money type, Visa, and then I can just say add payment. Because I left this one blank, watch what it ends up doing. Oh, looks like you wanted to add a credit card. So watch this. We're going to manually do it instead of swiping it, okay? This is an older card. I'm just going to change some information on it. So it's 4943. So what a swiper does is it actually speeds up this process so you don't have to do all of this information. And then let's pretend that the expiration date is of clear out to 16. No, I don't need that slash. Does that make sense how we would kind of do that for $1,000? And then if I wanted to, so like if I even asked somebody, hey, what's your security code? And they gave it to me and they said, hey, it's 333. I can enter that, hit submit. So this was a manual entry, but guess what we just did? $1,000 on a Visa. Here's my approval code number. Like it's already starting its journey along in line.
You're saying once you put it in, correct, you can use that same credit card over and over again.
Okay, so that gets into PCI compliant stuff. We do not save your credit card information, okay? This is the max of all that I'm saving. Guess what? I've got the last 4 of yours, and I've got an approval number. That's all we store inside of Adilas. Otherwise, we become a target, okay? What we did is we hit a gateway that's out in cyberspace, so it's a secure spot. We set all of that there, and they store it there. So if somebody wanted to get back to that information, they would have to return to the gateway to get it, not Adilas, not Adilas. And basically, it helps protect you, and it protects us. We don't want to be a target.
But you do have a trigger that you can re-trigger that gate to get another payment, say I'm your regular customer.
Okay, so that's totally different. We just did a one-time deal. If you're talking reoccurring, you have to have your merchant processing account has to allow for that. I'm talking literally at the bank and gateway level that they'll allow you to do reoccurring. And if they do, you just set it up inside your gateway. Once it's caught at one time, you can set it up so it'll reoccur over and over and over again. Okay, but it's not necessarily a link directly from Adilas to that reoccurring, as far as that goes.
But this works nice for a phone sale. Like, so
Oh,
this is
yeah.
I pay for this, and then it processes it, and plus it prints out an invoice, and I can just shoot an invoice that says paid to my customer. Right?
For sure, for sure. Mm-hmm. So you saw that we earlier did some swiping and did some swiping. That was how you do a manual card entry, just like that. Okay, perfect. Appreciate it. Dan, any questions on customer stuff?
No, I mean, the big thing that I saw there was being able to set up a ship to, bill to, because that's going to be of real interest to me, particularly with the e-commerce stuff that we're fixing to get into, because that's something I'm going to have to really be able to understand a lot of these sites.
Awesome. We haven't even gone there yet, but we can talk about e-commerce in just a second. Let's finish
No,
up this little lab.
but knowing that there's a ship to, bill to place even here, or a way to make it, at this point, even without using e-commerce.
Yeah, piece of cake. So watch this right here. So Shannon, we actually added this little ship to right here. That's kind of this little piece of the puzzle. I want to show you what it looks like when we finally get done with this. Let's quickly add an item. Actually, we've got a moose. Let's add him a moose. Okay, so we're going to sell Shannon a moose for $8. We're going to say checkout. And maybe we actually aren't even going to collect any money on Shannon right now. We're just going to put it on account, create the invoice. So what happens is you've probably never seen this portion of it. Basically what it does is it starts adding in any subs that needed to happen. Where this came from is we were in the automobile industry. You had a little kid come in and all of a sudden he needed a cosigner and then he needed a so we had to keep adding these little stacking these. This is where it kind of came from in a way, but we can use it however we want to. However we want to, okay? So basically that's what that does. It adds that little ship to. Another way, if you want to really make it fast, remember how Shannon has a couple of those sub-contacts? Watch this. I'm going to go back to Shannon. And we're going to go right into her log. This is the Shannon I'm looking for. And so this one right here on the ship to, there's a little special field. If I actually click this value and I say edit the contact, it says show on every invoice. Watch what happens when I actually create a new cart for Shannon. Right, ship to is automatically pulled in because that little button was clicked. Okay, so no matter what, even I could be anywhere and boom, go find Shannon, say new cart for Shannon. It's going to automatically pull in Shannon and her ship to because I said attach it. So that's how things play.
Or did you say attach it? I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Basically what it was physically under Shannon's information on her log, and I went down to the thing that I called the ship to, and I clicked physically on this. There was a little box, and I said yes.
Okay.
But he had to make that.
It was like it was an extra contact under Shannon's contact.
Correct.
That ship to wasn't there originally.
Correct. We can actually change it to whatever, like the word ship to.
Brother.
Yeah.
Shipping address.
Okay. Shipping address or whatever. I was just kind of to show you that you could quickly modify it, but like it's not locked in as far as that goes. And you could even have one person pay and then send it to a whole other customer that's not even related to in the same one-to-many relationship. Shannon can buy it and I can ship it to Danny that's totally a different customer even though they're not really related on Shannon's record. Like you could play however you want to play. Okay? Basically it doesn't matter. It's just a different process. Want to see how that would look? Or are we kind of getting off on the subject?
It's up to the rest of these guys. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to say clear this cart right here, okay? And so let's actually start from Danny, okay? I'm going to go find Danny, and I'm going to say new cart for Danny. Bloop, popped him in there. I don't have any other subs. There's nothing else in here, okay? I click on this little guy, either the button or the little link, and I click on it. It says, hey, who do you want to search for? And I'm going to go, I want Shannon. Okay? So Dan and Shannon have no physical contact, but guess what? I'm going to assign her as an additional tie-in, and it's going to prompt me to say, which parts did you really want her to be? And I'm saying, yep, I did want this, and she's going to actually be the ship to, or why don't we do this? Let's call it other, and then I'm going to say, I can't even spell, sorry.
Yes, right.
Yes, best friend.
We're gonna get a bunch of drums in
Okay,
Oh,
anyway,
nice.
just so you can see, I could actually, Shannon has a punch, so I could have added other things. I'll say add her as a tie-in. So Danny is now connected to Shannon as the best friend ship to. Okay, and I was just kind of teasing as far as that kind of stuff. But
We already high-fived.
oh, you
We're
high
best
five?
friends.
You high five? Sweet. You're golden.
It's not something that can happen every time. You could do it just this once without checking that box.
Oh yeah, so guess what? Danny's totally fine, but if I ever needed to, I could even go back to this and be like, okay, what happened? What's going on? And if I go to Shannon's information, if I physically check out from this type of thing, it'll physically say, oh, I was tied to this one, I was tied to this one. It kind of helps you know where things are tied to. That's a piece that we do behind the scenes that you don't have to be like, oh man, now I have to go back and connect that. If we know what your connections are, we call them relationships, we try to help match and monitor and do that type of thing for you. Okay? You can even do it after the fact. Say you checked completely out and you're like, oh crap, I forgot to add a ship to address. Well, instead of being in cart mode, you would go to the edit invoice line items, and there's a little link. Did you want to add an additional, address or whatever it might be? You just click on it, search, fill it out again, and boop, you pop that right into that invoice. Like we allow you. What happens is instead of like just having to be like you only get to do it just in the flow of what's going, it's like eventually just throw it at us. And as long as we get it and you're happy with what you've thrown at us, we'll make it happen. It doesn't have to necessarily be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You could technically be like, create the invoice. Oh, I forgot to even create that other customer. Go create the other customer. Oh, now go back to the invoice. Like you can go whichever way you want it to. It kind of depends on your flow. Okay. So anyway, did you want me to actually create this invoice to kind of show you, or is that enough?
That's enough for me.
Okay, great. Awesome.